Okay, so welcome everyone. So my name's Alex Bateman, and I'm the faculty member in charge of Pfam and InterPro over at EMBL-EBI. And I guess you're all here today because you are fans of Pfam, long-term users perhaps. And so, yeah, thank you. We really appreciate that. And you're probably a bit concerned and sad about the news that we announced fairly recently that we would be switching the Pfam website off. And we're going to be moving everyone over to be using InterPro. And this was not an easy decision, but there are good reasons why we did that. And Tiffin will tell you more about that in her presentation. Yeah, I'm going to be in the background answering questions in Q&A. So do type any questions you have in there. And hopefully, you can learn to love InterPro and using the InterPro website. And if you have suggestions on how to improve it, then either now or anytime in the future, please give us feedback. We're actively developing the InterPro website, and we want it to be a kind of a comfortable transition. And actually, the surprising thing is that some things are actually better in the InterPro website than Pfam. So hopefully Tiffin can tell you more about that. So I'll hand over to Tiffin Paysan-Lafosse, who's going to take you through the presentation today. So thanks, Tiffin.
Hello, everyone. So today I'm going to go briefly through the different features that were present in the Pfam website and how you can find them in the InterPro website, plus other functionalities that we have added to the InterPro website. So there will be different topics I will be covering in this webinar. So first, I will briefly go through why we're retiring the Pfam website. And for those of you who have never heard about Pfam or InterPro, I will give a brief introduction to those two resources. And I will carry on and showing you the different Pfam functionalities and where to find them in the InterPro websites. Also, we welcome any feedback or any annotation updates, and I will show you how you can suggest annotation updates in InterPro. You can also download all the data for further bioinformatics analysis, and I will explain you how to do that. And finally, I will go through a few advantages of using InterPro compared to the Pfam website. So first, why are we retiring the Pfam website? The Pfam website has been there for over 20 years now, and makes its code base very old and harder to maintain. And also, the EBI is currently producing two protein family websites, Pfam and InterPro, and Pfam is integrated in InterPro already. So it's a lot of computation time, and for the future, it's not very sustainable to have two resources. So we will focus our effort on producing the core of Pfam, and you have access to the data through the InterPro website. Also, the Pfam releases are very slow, and most of the time is taken by generating the data related to the website, not the core data. And however, one thing to note is that not all the functionalities that are currently available in Pfam, in the Pfam website, will be available in InterPro. This is not the case of the alignment. For example, you won't have access to all the representative proteome that you used to have in Pfam. So what is Pfam? Pfam is a large collection of protein families. Each of these families is represented by multiple sequence alignment and hidden Markov models, also called HMMs. And they are a combination. In combination, they cover the majority of the UniProt sequences. So as part of Pfam 35, it contains 19,632 families, which are grouped into 655 clans. and it covers 75.2% of the UniProt reference proteome. InterPro is a resource for functional analysis of protein sequences. I also offer the possibility to predict protein families and the presence and domain of important sites. And its core is that it combines predictive models from 13 different member databases. And each InterPro entry has a description, and this description is supported by literature, scientific literature. So the latest release of InterPro was InterPro release 90, and it contained 40,597 entries and a bit more than 35,000 GOTEM mapped to those InterPro entries, which provide more information about the functionality of proteins, for example, and covers 82% of the UniProt knowledge base. So, as I said, InterPro is a consortium of 13 member databases that use different methods, as you can see on the left hand side there, to generate their models, and they also cover different parts of the same proteins. For example, some of them focus on the full length of the protein. This is the case of Panther. Others focus more on a particular domain, which give a function to the protein. So let's get on the same page about what is an InterPro entry. So an InterPro entry describes a family, a domain, or concept sites to which we assign a name and a unit identifier, a type. We have 5 different entry types. And it's an umbrella to one or more protein signatures from the member databases I mentioned previously. And it groups together sets of protein that represent the same entity. It has literature-supported information, and we also provide additional links and information about this entity, for example, taxonomy information, and pathways, etc. So now I will go through and show you different ways you can use the InterPro website and the functionalities that you had in the Pfam website. So first, I will show you how to do a protein sequence search, and for which at the moment you can only submit one sequence at a time, but in the next InterPro release, you'll be able to search for multiple sequences at a time. I'm going also to show you how to search by domain architecture, how to do a text search. I will go through the Pfam signature page and how it looked in the Pfam website and how it looks in the InterPro websites. And then I will show you all the information present on an InterPro entry page and the integration of Pfam with other signatures. And finally, I will show you a set page in InterPro, which corresponds to the Pfam clan page in the Pfam website. So I'm going to go to the InterPro website. So to do, so this is the homepage, InterPro homepage. From here, you have an easy access to different type of search. You have the second search by text, or search by domain architecture. But if you are anywhere else in the website, you can also go to search by sequence, which gives you the same functionalities. And then you have a box there where you can paste your sequence, or you can also import your sequence in FASTA format using the choose file button. For me, I have sequence I'm going to paste there. And so the power of InterPro is that it's going to give you the analysis of that protein from all the 30 member databases it has integrated. But if you are interested in only one particular member database, for example, Pfam, you can go to the advanced option And then you can select the member database you want to run the analysis against. By default, everything is selected, but you can click on unselect all. And for example, if you're interested in Pfam, just select the Pfam database to run the search. And once you have done that, you can click on the search button. In this case, I'm going to search against everything. Once you press the search button, you are redirected to the results tab under your InterProScan searches, where you can see the list of submitted jobs. By default, the searches are saved for 7 days, but there is some options, which I'm going to show in a minute, where you can save those results to access to them after those 7 days. So you have the list of jobs, which you can order by name, by job ID, or by date of creation, using the icons at the top. And the interesting thing here is the status column. So you can see the sequence I just submitted is still searching, but when it has completed, I will have a green tick. And when you save a sequence to access it after the 7 days limit on our server, you will have this icon, which when you hover over it, tells you that the job has been saved. And you also have the possibility, if you have been running the InterProScan software, which is what we use to run the sequence search, you can import the results using the import feature, and then they will be shown as imported file. So because we don't have a lot of time and this search can take a moment, so I already run it, and I'm going to show you how it looks. So this is the result page. Well, it has completed. You can see you have, when the job is completed, you have a pop-up that shows up, and then you can go directly to that page. So this is the InterProScan search result page. It has 3 different tabs. You can see at the top, you have the overview, which is overview of the results. You have the entries tab, which shows all the InterPro entries your protein has been matching, and the sequence tab, which allows you to submit a new search, for example, using another member database, or just part of the sequence if you are interested in part of the sequence. Then we have general information about that protein you submitted, and the interesting part is the action. So you can delete that search, or you can save it, as I mentioned earlier, and then that will be shown in the list of searches. Then we arrive at the part with the analysis results. So first, when the protein has been found matching a protein family, you'll have the protein family membership information. So in this case, this protein is predicted to belong to the haptoglobin protein family, which corresponds to the InterPro entry IPR008292. And you can click on that to access the InterPro page. And below you have a summary of all the matches that have been found by all the member databases. The gray bar at the top represents your protein. Now this is called the protein sequence viewer. So you have the protein, you can zoom in and out using the gray bar and the plus and minus button as well. I'm going to reset that. And then you have the results organized by InterPro entry type. So family, domain, homologous superfamily. The unintegrated one corresponds to member database signature that haven't been integrated in an InterPro entry yet. For each match found, you always have the InterPro match at the top, and below it, the signatures that are integrated in that particular InterPro entry. As I mentioned before, an InterPro entry is an umbrella to one or more protein signatures. So in this case of this domain, the TRPSID domain, you can see that it contains 4 different signatures. We also provide for some other databases per residue annotation, but this is shown under the signature of that provide this annotation. You also have a option to customize the display. You can, for example, change the coloring of the results, and you can label by name, accession name, or short name. So if I press name, then you can see that this is now the name that are shown instead and not the accessions anymore. And you can click on any of the names on the right to access the corresponding page in the website and have more details and information about this particular entry. Another advantage of using InterPro is that we provide GoTerm annotation. So you can see in the GoTerm section, those GoTerms are assigned manually by the InterPro curators and reviewed regularly. And they provide some insight about the function of the protein or biological processes it is involved in. And you can see that the Pfam, we have the Pfam entry that has been found matching this particular protein. So that's all for the protein sequence search. Now I'll move on to the search by domain architecture. So I'll go to search by domain architecture. So in this case, you can select domains you want to include and exclude of your search. And if you start typing, it auto-completes. So if I'm for example, interested in the PF 00001 and PF 0002, I need to search for that. So you can search here using either a Pfam accession or an InterPro accession. So you can see as I enter this, it automatically generates the results. And we have 11 domain architectures with those 2 domains that have been found. By default, it's showing the Pfam accession, but you can change that to show the InterPro accession instead. You also have the possibility, if it's really important for you, the order of the domains. You can click the option. Then you can see that the results have been filtered down. Also, if you only want proteins with exactly those 2 domains and no other domains, you can click on an exact match. So you can see in this case, there is no matches. If I move around the domains, you can see we have 1 protein that has been found with those 2 domains on. The last type of search I wanted to show you is this text search. So the text search is accessible either by going to search by text or from anywhere in the website. You can see next to this magnifying glass at the top, and you can search for your text of interest. So let's say, for example, you are interested in a Pfam accession. So you're going to put your Pfam accession there and press enter to start the search. This redirects you straight away to the Pfam page. But if you were looking for text, then this will show you the list of results. And we have in a table showing the results where you can see the different signatures that are matching the text you searched, and also the InterPro entries. So if I go to this particular Pfam, let's have a look. So this is the Pfam, an example of Pfam signature page. And I'm going to show you how it looks compared to Pfam. If I can put them in parallel. 1 second. There we go. So you have on the left the view from the Pfam website, and on the right the view from the InterPro website. You can see they're organized similarly. So at the top we have the name of the entry and its accession, similarly that in Pfam. And you have the description. And when there is a Wikipedia article, we also show below the description the content of the Wikipedia article. The InterPro tab here is accessible on the integrated to, and if you click there, you'll be redirected to the InterPro entry page. At the moment, there is still the link to the Pfam website, but this will disappear when we retire the the Pfam website next week. You also have the possibility, as I mentioned before, to add your annotation. So if you have a suggestion of a publication, or you found that there is a typo in the description or any information provided, you can click on that button to fill the form and give us feedback of what needs to be updated on that entry. You have a similar button in the InterPro entry page. So let's have a look at the content of that page. So at the top, you have the member database information, so the type, the short name, and the set. So instead of having the clan information on the menu on the left, we have included it directly in the overview of the entry. And you can click on the accession to access the Pfam set page, which I'm going to show you a bit later. If we look at the different tabs, so the domain organization that was in Pfam is found in domain architectures in InterPro. So you can see all the proteins that are matching this particular architecture, and click. This is a clickable link, and if you click on that, you will see the list of all the proteins, where you can hover over the domain to have more information about it. The alignments tab is also present. Alignments, and you can select uniprot, full. So the RP are still there for now, but in the future they won't be there anymore. If you want to see the seed alignment, so by default is colored using Cluster 2, and if you want it to look a bit more than it was looking in Pfam, you can click on the conservation option, and I will change to highlight the conserved parts. The HMM logo is available in InterPro under the signature tab in the menu. The trees and species have been combined in InterPro under the taxonomy, where you have by default the sunburst view. But you can see at the top there are different views available. You can see a table of all the proteins. You can see a tree view of the different lineage, so the sunburst, and also see key species and how many proteins are matching this particular entry. And I will also have more options to download and view the proteins. The curation and models are available under the curation tab in InterPro. And the AlphaFold structures are not available yet from the Pfam entry in InterPro, but you can access them from the InterPro entry directly. And the TR Rosetta structure is available under the newest structure prediction for using Rosetta Fold. And you can interact with that. So you can see that all the different tabs in the menu that were available on Pfam are also available in the InterPro website. And you can also collapse the menu to have a bigger view of the information available. There are 2 additional tabs we have added in the InterPro website that were not in the Pfam website. You have the proteins tab, which lists all the proteins the signature is matching, and you can filter them by to show only, for example, reviewed protein, which corresponds to Swiss prot proteins, or unreviewed protein. You also have the proteomes tab, which is a list of reference proteomes the signature is matching, and you can see the proteins by clicking on the actions button. Okay, let's go back to the overview and have a look at an InterPro entry page. So you click on the InterPro accession, and then you arrive on the InterPro entry page. So in here, it's the same layout as for the Pfam signature page. On the left-hand side, we still have a menu with different tabs. The name of the InterPro entry is at the top. So you have, in this case, the protein quiver with the InterPro accession and the type represented by a letter. So in this case, it's a family entry. The short name, we have a description supported by literature references, which are available at the bottom of the page. You can see the different signatures integrated in that entry and access the corresponding page. Add your annotation, similarly that in Pfam. And an additional feature that we don't have in Pfam is the coterms annotation. So in this case, it gives information about the biological process this particular protein are involved in. So it seems that they are involved in sleep patterns. Another information that is available sometimes is relationship to other InterPro entries. So when an entry is a subset of another entry, then you'll have domain relationship or family relationship, and you will see the list of entries. And you can go access particular entries. As I mentioned before, you have the Rosetta Fold predictive structures. And so by default, there is one shown, but you have at the bottom the list of all the prediction, and you can show the prediction by clicking on the button. We also have additional information on the menu. You have genome 3D annotation, and sometimes you have pathway interactions depending on the entries and the set of proteins they are matching. So lastly, I wanted to show you the set page. So if I go back to the Pfam entry and we go to this. So this is an example of set page. So at the top, you have a general information about the set and the graphical representation for which you can change the label contents. For example, to show the name on the accession. Compared to Pfam, what we have added is in the entries, you have the list of different Pfam entries that are included in that command, and we also have a direct link to the seed alignment and to the domain architectures for that particular signatures. So yes. So this is how you can have a look at all the data that you can find all the Pfam data in the InterPro website. But if you want to do further analysis, all the data are freely available to download. There are multiple ways you can do that. You can go on the download tab of the InterPro website, and you can see that different tabs, and one of them is Pfam, and you can see all the different files we make available at each Pfam release. So you can download them from there, and you also have access to the Pfam FTP. The Pfam FTP will remain the same as it is at the moment. Additionally, you can also download Pfam data using the InterPro API that is accessible through www.ebi.ac.uk/interpro/API. And if you are not very familiar with the API or don't know how it works, you can access, we provide data and code snippets on the results download tab of the InterPro website. And we also have an extensive documentation on GitHub on how to use the InterPro API. A thing to consider is that the URL are ordered the other way around compared to the website's URL. So for example, for the proteins, so you will say first what the type of data you are looking for. So you are looking for a protein from UniProt, and then data matching the entry Pfam 17064. You can also download the HMM file using the API, using the annotation link. So what are the advantages of using InterPro instead of Pfam? So first, InterPro has been redesigned in recent years, and it uses up-to-date technologies, including a modern framework, React. It combines predictive models from certain member databases. So instead of one annotation just from Pfam, you'll have annotation from more predictions, more models. It increases the coverage of UniProt's knowledge base. It contains additional information, for example, a CMAC peptide and disordered region, which I didn't cover in this webinar, but you can go have a look at our other webinars to have more information about that. It also provides for InterPro entries GoTerms annotation, which give information about the functionality and biological process the proteins are involved. And you can also use the API to download the data and process them further. With that, I'd like to thank the InterPro and Pfam team. So the curators, Beatrice and Sarah, the production, Matthias and Thiago, and Gustavo has been working very hard on adding the Pfam features to the InterPro website, and Alex, our group leader. So thank you for your attention. And now, yes, here are a few useful links. So you can follow us on Twitter, InterPro and Pfam, to have latest announcements. If you are going to use our resource, please cite our latest publication, which can be accessed from the InterPro homepage. And you can also look at the InterPro documentation to find out more about all the different features we have available. And now we'll be answering any question you may have.
Okay, so I see that we do have one question. Well, one statement. The information is clear. Thank you. So thank you. That's very kind. Yeah, we're very happy to take any other questions. And just to say, yeah, this process, so it's only about a week until we switch off the PFAM website, and we'll be redirecting traffic directly to InterPro. It will be possible to still get to the PFAM website for a little bit longer, but it will be under a new URL, I think pfam-legacy@ebi.ac.uk. Yeah, but now is a good time to start to switch over and try and use InterPro and just see if it's doing the things that you need to. If it's not, then please let us know. Then, there may be things that can be improved or made more PFAM-like in the future. Okay, so we do now have a question. Okay, so I have a problem in interpreting the results of the research from the InterPro and PFAM. What do you recommend me, please? Haha, okay. So I guess it would be good to have a little bit more information, Mona, about, particularly what your question is about. Do you have a protein that you're trying to find the function for, or is it something that's similar to something else? Or are you just getting too much information and you don't know which is the important thing? Okay, so then Stuart McGowan has a question. So Tiffin, do you want to take that one?
Yes, Stuart is asking if we're going to, if the PFAM website is going to be, the PFAM FTP is going to be gone. So no, the PFAM FTP will still be there and will still make PFAM releases, and they will be made available on the FTP. And as I shown, the link to the FTP is still available on the downloads page in InterPro, and it's the same URL.
Okay, and so we have another question from Thea. Will the PFAM database be collapsed since we can now access the information from InterPro with more information? So so when we made this announcement, many people got a bit confused about what was going to happen. They thought that PFAM will be switched off forever, but it's only the website that's going away. PFAM will continue, and we will continue building new families and updating old ones and making releases of the data. It's just that if you want to see that data, well, you can get it from the PFAM FTP site, but it will be coming out through InterPro. So it's just the website that's going away, but PFAM, long may it continue. And yeah, we hope that this move will make it much easier to sustain it and keep it running long into the future. So thanks for the question. Okay, Tiffin, would you like to wrap up?
Yes, so as Alex said, the PFAM website will be will redirect you automatically to the InterPro website in a week from the 5th of October. So please have a practice and have a go at using InterPro before that, and feel free to contact us if you have any question or anything you can't find, or any suggestions of improvements as well. We really welcome any suggestion. We want it to make it as useful as possible for you. So please contact us. And thank you for coming today.